My son, another metric system around the track. Like I said, finished first again in the 1,600 meter, not a mile. Roger, you said some things last week. We got the Canadians mad at us, but you know what? The people in America, the people in Columbus, Ohio, they love you. What do you got about the metric system before Andy shuts it down?
You know what, Matt? Our son also run a track, same age. We got boys the same age, and he's running track, and he runs the third leg, and he's awesome on it because he can hit top speed because he's a baseball player, and he's an elite baseball player, and he's an elite base runner. So when he hits that third leg and he runs on a corner, he's elite. But you know what? I don't want to do math when I go to a sporting event. Is he running 40 yards? Tell me he's running 40 yards. Is he running 100 yards? Listen to this. This is what I read. I had to Google because they run some 1,600. Let me tell you about the 1,600. I have a 4-year-old. 4-year-old's on my phone. They're running the 1,600. I went to 400. I forget they're even running a race. These poor kids are walking before this thing's over, right? Oh, it's so damn long. I forgot there was a race going on. So we need to get rid of the metric system. They call it 4 times around a football field's a mile. They call it the American Lazy Mile. These pretentious Canadians, I want a wall built. I want our Windsor. You can have your shitty whiskey. I want a wall built and get rid of the Canadians. Send them all back. And the metric system back.
Right. Wow. I'm going to wall built around this side of the screen, cutting Roger out.
Oh, thank you, Andy. I'm going that way too.
You know what, track? It's not a spectator sport.
So I actually I didn't get a chance to watch last week's Dog Jug. Thank you for filling in without me. Not filling in, making the show run when I couldn't be here. But I talked to people that said, Ed, you gave the show humility.
I did. Sometimes we get accused of being a little bit, how should I put it in the terms of Andy Manchin, robotic sometimes. And I wanted to give it some humility, some humanity. I don't know if I accomplished that, but I did give us something that we're going to run on in 2024, and that's the metric system. And you know what? As Browns fans, we don't always agree on everything, but if we can agree on that one analytical point, I think even we can get Andrew Barry and the analytics department and Paul DePodesta on with us and on a board with getting rid of the metric system. And Andy, that's what I tried to do, unite Browns Nation last week. But I did it in a not so subtle way, in a way that, you know what, it's hard to convert. Roger, I don't know. There's things, there's metrics involved.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was you that actually was the one that made that comment about bringing humility to the Dog Jug. And I love that you review yourself. That's always awesome.
Like Hugh Jackson, the great Hugh Jackson says, you got to review the tapes.
Andy, Ed takes 45 minutes to tell you how humble he is.
It's down from 46 minutes. All
right. Well, anyway, let's get the show going. It's time for the Dog Jug updates. And unfortunately, we don't have any slides today because I didn't do them. But Ed, why don't you kick us off?
All right. The Browns announced they're returning to white face masks this season. J.W. Johnson said, "We are thrilled to write the next chapter of the Browns' history, honor the cardiac kids of the Browns for a storied franchise. And most of all, within the next couple of years, we're having a blah off season to change that narrative. And we're going to change it to gray. So we have a couple hours of positive PR on Twitter."
Nice.
Roger. Speaking to the media this week, Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson admitted that it is possible he fractured his shoulder week 3 against the Titans and not against the Ravens. Asked if he came to this conclusion after meeting with the Browns medical staff, he said, "Nah, the shoulder felt okay, but I remember feeling some pain when I was trying to diddle the ladies while they were giving me massages."
Oh, my God. Why would he even put that out there? Jeez.
Right.
All right. The Browns and Nick Chubb agreed on a restructured contract that would reduce the salary from $18.85 million to just $6.2 million, but he will have the chance to earn about $10 million of that back with incentives. Asked how likely it is that he'll hit those incentives, Nick frowned and said, "My agent's an idiot. I get paid $2 million if I say 1,000 total words to the media. I get another $2 million if I get voted biggest diva on the roster, and $6 million if the Browns get to the Super Bowl. There's a bigger chance the Dog Jug will make $10 million than I'll see a cent of those incentives."
In an embarrassing fashion, the Cleveland Cavaliers appeared to lose to the Charlotte Hornets on purpose to ensure they couldn't face the dangerous 76ers in the first round. But the Dog Jug can confirm This report is fake news. The truth is they didn't intentionally try and lose, but had an incident in the locker room where all the players were constipated due to the toilets being clogged from all the sanitary napkins flushed down the locker room toilets during the women's Final Four tournament. Women are nasty.
Oof. Man.
They all sink together just on a weekend.
You'll get exclusives like this on other podcasts, everybody. All right. The Cleveland Guardians, or Indians, if that were defense, have gotten off to a hot start, owning one of the top records in baseball 3 weeks in. Some of the players were asked if they attribute their success to Stephen Vogt motivating the young team, and they responded, not really. We're just excited to finally all be up here in the majors together because there's so much less pressure from all the tiny crowds than we were used to in Columbus and Akron. Roger, top 10. Let's go.
We do. I got a top 10 tonight, and it's just starting the baseball season. It's April. I don't know. They're playing. They're the best team in baseball. Get down there when they're at home. Check them out. These are the top 10 Guardians 2024 giveaways and special events this season. Giveaways and special events. Number 10, the first 10,000 fans will be able to come into the ballpark this winter, unbolt and remove a row of green seats, and take them home for $100. He's crafty. Get the labor and make $100. Number 9, a coupon for a free souvenir soda with purchase of any season ticket package. There's a deal right there. You ever see them Cubs got Jose on it or something? Number 8, Carl Willis AARP night. You get 10% off if you're 55 and older. I just turned 55 on Monday. I'm going to get my 10% off AARP.
Happy birthday, by the way.
I don't know if that's true. Number 7, Miles Straw autograph fungo bat night. Number 6, the miserable, they will always be the Indians people night with miserable fuck Greg Brinda. Number 5, Nick Carnes pom pom night. Number 4, Cheeto night. First 10,000 fans get a Terry Francona, get Shaw up t-shirt. Wow. Get Shaw up. Number 3, Mayor Bib bobblehead night. Oh wait, Jimmy Haslam had that one canceled too. He's got a. Number 2, a free Chief Wahoo hat with the purchase of any Guardians gear at the team gift shops. Well, that'll get stuff moving off the shelf.
Like it.
And the number 1 Cleveland Guardians 2024 giveaway and special events, Americans Reparations Night. And that's our politically incorrect Dog Chug top 10.
Wow. Well done. That was awesome. Thanks for salvaging the Dog Chug updates.
Yeah.
I want to bring
to the rescue.
The Browns did something recently. I know, Ed, you had some strong feelings, and I think I have some strong feelings. I don't know where Roger's on this one, but Ed, why don't you explain what happened? They brought a couple players back, signed them for one-day contracts. Adam the Bull made a big deal about this. Where are you at, or
what happened?
Oh, okay. So, it's the start of the week, and I'm getting on my X, and I see the Cleveland Browns trying to do some goodwill, and they're bringing back former players, Hollywood Higgins and Christian Kirksey. And, I don't know, they're going to sign one-day deals. And, at first I was kind of like Adam the Bull. Adam the Bull, as you all know, from 92.3. Now he's on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Made some comments where he was kind of harsh and said the Browns was very embarrassing for them and the organization to do this gesture. And at first, I kind of went along with that sentiment. Now he has since retracted today and said that he was wrong for, and he was right. He made some good points about it's the organization, the fans like those players, and But the only thing I would like to add to that is, it's hard not to jump at the Browns and be a little negative towards them, and especially when you're Adam the Bull, you get paid to say things, and the Browns are a very provocative organization, so I'm going to defend him in that light. But I will also say it was nice to see him retracted because it is entertainment, and if the Browns feel that it's a positive engagement with their fans, and which by all accounts it was, then good for them. But the only thing I'm going to say is Higgins, he was always in Stefanski's doghouse. I remember, why isn't he playing today? Why isn't he playing today? He had a couple red carpet, runs with Baker, and that was cool. But where was he? And then, let's be real, he fumbled the ball in Kansas City. Now, I know it was helmet to helmet, but the last, lasting image I'll always have of him is, kind of fucking up the chance for us to go to the AFC Championship game. So, that's very Ernest Biner of him. And then Christian Kirksey. That guy was a tackling machine. But here's another thing, Andy and Roger, that people forget. He was the only one that was tackling because the defense sucked so bad. Somebody's got to tackle somebody. So those are my thoughts, Andy. Thanks for bringing this up, and we're going to take it from there.
He sure didn't have much success after Cleveland.
No.
Roger, where are you falling on this one? It's always interesting to get Roger's take.
Well, I'm hoping that if he gets in the Ring of Honor eventually, because fans love him. Listen, we're a fan base. We're a fan base that reveres a guy that had just a miserable NFL career, except for 1 year. He happened to win an MVP, and he lost a wild card playoff game. But we think Brian Sipe is like, because they wrote a Christmas song, his name was in it. He kind of reached legendary status. So if Hollywood Higgins, with his walk down the carpet and his 8 touchdowns that he scored for us, I don't know if that's how many, because his name's here underneath Kareem Hunt on the signed helmet. So right now the value's down. It'd be worth more with just Kareem Hunt. I think Higgins, if he gets into the Ring of Honor, and I'm going to get Ed to sign it, and then it's going to skyrocket.
Yeah, thank
you. All right. So
that's
right now where I'm at on it. And you know what? If that's what they were guys that come and played hard on a team that nobody wanted to play on. And they had a really good run the year when they opened the refrigerators with Baker Mayfield. That was a fun year. That was the last time I had fun watching the Browns until Flacco last year. So I give Higgins, I give Kirksey. They were part of that, and that, revived the fan base a little bit, revived us, and started dog show. That's what got us going. So.
Well, look, I love both those players. Obviously, Hollywood Higgins was, he didn't have a lot of plays, like Ed said. He was always in the doghouse, didn't get a lot of time. But man, when we needed a big catch, he seemed to always come up with it. I don't mind the fumble in that game. I mean, that was blatant helmet to helmet. It should have been flagged. It wasn't. Whatever. Cleveland against the refs, but look. I do kind of agree. I mean, Adam shouldn't have gone on the rant that he did. The Browns want to do it fine, but it just kind of feels a little lame, Like, am I way off here that those two guys are really retiring as a Brown? And the way the Browns always fuck up the messaging. They're very bad at PR. J.W. Johnson says, "We are thrilled that Richard and Christian wanted to come back and retire as Cleveland Browns. Both players obviously made an impact on the field, but they made a lasting impression in Cleveland community as well." It's like these two players were Jesus Christ. Calm down.
Usually you said Jesus Christ when they were playing, like, damn.
So I mean, if you're doing this, what's next? Who are you bringing back? Ed, who are you bringing back next year?
Well, I mean, I think that they've already brought him back. I guess he's on the squad, but I mean, I think we got to put him in the Ring of Honor right away. Because Cade York, you draft a kicker, you got to give him accolades, even if he's done nothing and missed nothing but field goals. So Cade York's my first guy I'd go to.
It's like, what's next? We are thrilled that Phil Taylor's priest wanted to come back and retire as a Cleveland Brown. Jim Donovan's third grade teacher.
Travis
he wants to
Kelce.
Come back to be part of the Browns family.
Hear me out. Travis Kelce, because he's from Cleveland. And if you're from Cleveland, you're just as good as if you played for the Browns. Because if you get on social media, and Taylor Swift too. Taylor Swift as well.
No, you got to stop. That's like you can't. That's like playing Hang On Sloopy during the really bad years at Brown Stadium just to get the crowd going, and think of the Buckeyes. And remember the Buckeyes beating Akron the day before, or Bowling Green by 90, and get the crowd into the football game by rekindling some Buckeye memory by playing Hang On Sloopy. No, you don't do it. You get your own identity. Don't do it. I don't want to see it.
We are thrilled to announce Paul, the guy that urinated on Art Modell's grave, is going to retire as a Cleveland Brown. I mean, come on.
What about
Richard?
You know what?
Richard Seymour, the guy the Browns almost drafted instead of Gerard Moore in the 2001 draft. We're signing him to a one-day contract, and he's going to retire as a Cleveland Brown. Come on, it's kind of lame.
What about Johnny Manziel? Because he never watched any tape and he got 2 victories. That's something.
I want the guy that outed Johnny Manziel in Vegas, which
Okay,
allowed the Browns
okay,
to
all right.
cut ties with him. So
All right. And Billy Manziel, get his alter ego.
Billy Manziel.
Yeah. Okay.
the guy that notarized the sale of the Cleveland Browns from Randy Lerner to the Haslam family, he is now going to retire as a member of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, the homeless guy that told Jimmy Haslam to draft Johnny. Yeah.
How about the gimp that's in Jimmy and Dee Haslam's sex dungeon? He's going to retire as a Cleveland Brown.
I think the Nazi Party agrees with all those sentiments right there, Andy. So
Eric, the guy who delivered the pizzas to the war room in the 2011 draft, is now a Cleveland Brown for life. He's retired as a Cleveland Brown. Fuck.
those were good pizzas, Andy. Those are good pizzas, though. You can't. I mean, I think he's done more for the Cleveland Browns than the players have over the years.
He just signed to a one-day contract. The guy that sold Sir Yachts his Where's Waldo costume that he wore to many Browns games.
He comes down to Columbus and that, and sometimes he has on different colors. So maybe he got a 2-for-1 that day. He got 2 outfits.
A guy I know that's a carpenter that played on the he's 82 now. He was on the strike team. He played center. And induct him in, yeah.
Well, I can't wait to
member of the Cleveland Brown. Josh Gordon's pot dealer will sign a one-day deal.
Nice. Well, maybe someday the mayor of Brook Park, the guy that'll get the Browns to Brook Park, will be part of that in their new dome and the new Ring of Honor.
You know what? I'll say this to end this. I got to say this, and we'll wrap this up. I believe Adam the Bull. He recanted. Ed recanted because they're getting too much heat. You know what? Stand your ground. Die on your hill. Don't be soft. Adam the Bull. Don't come back the next day unless you're doing it. You know what? If it's a bit, you're doing it. You set it up the day before. Okay, I respect it. But if you're backtracking because of some pressure from your network, because I've been there, Dog Chuck's been there. We said, with that, I hate when people it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? It wasn't, if I'm gonna come off a hill, I'm gonna put my tail between my legs. It ain't gonna be over Hollywood fucking Higgins and Kirksey. I'll tell you that much. I'll die on that fucking hill.
Okay, I'm gonna retract my retract.
All right, that's the last. I'm not.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
but we are honored to have Elliot, the lawyer who works full time getting the victims to sign the NDAs, retire as a member of our Cleveland Browns family.
All right.
Save the best for last, right there, Andy.
Let's get to baseball. Let's get to baseball.
I love that. I'm always like cutting Roger and Ed off and Ross off, and Roger's turned the tables. He's like, "Fuck this bit. Let's go. Let's move it along." All right, we'll let's bring on our guest.
Yeah.
We're actually, this is kind of exciting. Everyone's used to having Chuck on.
Yes.
He's going to be on a little bit later, but we have even someone more special than Chuck. It's the guy that taught him everything he knows because they do a podcast together. Okay, well,
we were one time co-workers early on, back with the old network with Zach.
Member of
we go back quite a ways with them, but this is his first time coming on Dog Show.
I'm coming on the Dog Chug. It will not be the last unless he was watching the past 15 minutes.
No.
Zach, welcome to the Dog Chug.
What's going on, Andy, Roger, Ed? Good to see you guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey,
it's
no problem. Great, man.
How do you follow that up?
I don't. So I'm here to talk baseball. You guys left some pretty big shoes to fill, but hopefully I can fill them at least halfway.
You're a good liar, by the way, because those shoes aren't really that big. They're not that big.
I got to say this, Roger. I appreciated your politically not correct top 10. The Miles Straw Fungo Bat comment is like S tier giveaway. That's like up there, man. That's a good one.
Nice. Thank you. I knew a baseball enthusiast would appreciate a fungo bat giveaway from Miles Straw. So,
well, an even funnier thing is it's just funny because don't get me wrong, I love Miles Straw. He's a good dude, but he's struggling at Columbus right now. He's down pretty bad. But it's also early in the season. Nobody should be jumping off a cliff right now. There's plenty of stuff on Twitter so far these past few days about prospects that are struggling. Juan Burrito's batting 200. Who cares? It's April 17th. These teams haven't played 20 games yet.
Do you want to know who cares?
Pump the brakes.
Chuck cares. Chuck cares.
I want to say this early on, and I'll let Andy take over. I want to say this. One thing I always say, and you recognized it. Nobody's said it to me since, but you know where the quote came from. Baseball is hard.
Baseball's hard, man.
Who said that? Who said
Deion Sanders? You know, Deion was an elite level football player.
Yep.
One of the legends. And he said on the record, baseball is the hardest sport he ever played.
Wow. Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Baseball's hard, man. Word for it. Yep. Baseball's hard.
Coach Prime has spoken.
It is very hard, but this iteration of our Cleveland Guardians have one of their hottest starts in, what is it, like 13 seasons, something like that, which is awesome. What do you attribute to the success that they're having?
I think so. There's a lot of things going on here. So, you know, they say good teams face adversity. Great teams find ways to overcome adversity. So Cleveland is already in the thick of a not ideal pitching situation. You know, Bieber is out and had UCL reconstruction surgery. That's Tommy John. He's out for 18 months. Probably can't even throw for another year. You know, you started Ben Lively. Who is that guy tonight? You know, we picked him up in the offseason, but nobody knows who he was. He pitched the last 2 seasons in Korea. Tristan McKenzie doesn't look his best. Gavin Williams is still out. Carlos Carrasco's the 5th man. Xavier Curry's not even on the team anymore. He got optioned to Columbus today to make space for Lively to be added to the 26-man roster. So what you're seeing early on right now is everything that goes into a baseball season. You're seeing fatigue management with Cade Smith getting optioned. He's been worked a lot. They're sending him down to Columbus to get some rest. I don't know why they optioned Curry, especially after the start he had the other night, other than the fact that it was probably just the fact that they needed a starter. I wouldn't look too much into that. But I think this goes a lot to what we talk about in baseball with it being the intangibles. So there's a lot of effort, I believe, that went into the offseason when they looked at bringing back guys like Austin Hedges. Austin Hedges is not a guy that's going to go out and bat 225, hit 10 home runs, and knock in 60 in a year. He is a guy that you have in the clubhouse strictly for vibes. He is a clubhouse leader. He's a vet. He's now got a World Series ring with the Texas Rangers. And if you have any doubt to what Austin Hedges brings to the locker room, go read some of the stuff from the Rangers beat writers in The Athletic last year and talking about how important Austin Hedges was to their clubhouse culture, especially when they were grinding out to get a playoff spot in September. Those things go a long way.
Know,
we would, Zach, but we don't know how to read on the dog chug. So
the fan base loves him, and that really helps with a guy like Austin Hedges, because what he brings isn't you don't see. So, and he almost made the top 10. He was in there with they had a giveaway. Austin Hedges dick pics was one of the giveaways. They didn't make the top 10. So,
What I think the early season success can be really attributed to is I think they're really gelling just really well as a team. You know, there's nobody that's really new on this team except for maybe a couple of the pitchers. You know, Cade Smith is new. Tim Herron didn't see a lot of time in the majors last year. You know, you still got Eli Morgan, Clase, Stefan obviously out with elbow reconstruction surgery. But I really think they're playing their brand of baseball, and they're unashamed about it. They never believe that they're out. They always believe they have a chance every time they come up to bat. And we saw that last night. You know, granted, tonight wasn't that great. You know, baseball, you can go out and you have a clunker game every once in a while. They were due statistically. But last night, never out, never down. Always fight, scratch, claw when you have the chance. And they're just, that's what they believe. That's what made the 2022 team so special, is when we watched them, it was just a bunch of kids playing the game. And, you know, Jimenez has looked so much better already than he has last year. They tweaked some swing mechanics with him. He looks so much more balanced in the box. He's got a good approach. Last year, he was all over the place. And I think that's kind of why he had a down year. He will always play on the diamond because he plays a platinum glove. You can stick him anywhere in the middle infield or third base, and he's going to make dazzling plays. You know, Kwan is an on-base machine. The dude just hits everything. Gabriel Arias is absolutely smashing baseballs right now. He's punishing everything in the strike zone. And you have guys. You may not be on the Esteban Florial train. I will be self-admitted. I don't think Esteban Florial is on this team past Memorial Day, but guys even like him find ways to contribute in that absolute banger of a Sunday game versus the Yankees with the home run to put them up by 1. It's just they're kids playing the game. I think that's what it is.
Yep.
And there seems to be like a cohesive, like everyone is on the same page. It felt like last year. What do you attribute like how he had a great year in 22? Very, I don't know, up and down year, mostly down, and then things seem to be heading in the right direction, but it's very early. What was missing last season? Was it just the injuries
for Jimenez, or just as the team?
Just the whole team, yeah.
The whole team. I think pitching injuries are really what hurt last year. You didn't have Tristan coming out of spring camp, and he, very much like his starts so far this year, hasn't looked that great. As far as terms of like looking at his mechanics and his extension, if you overlay video of his 2022 stuff to his couple starts this season, nothing really looks different. It's probably just a comfort thing in the fact that he hasn't been on the mound in a game situation in a while. Didn't have Bieber for a large majority of last year. You had guys struggling. You had Will Brennan, who realistically probably needs to see more playing time so we can figure out what he is, but he struggled a bit. Jimenez was down. Josh struggled early in the season. That's Naylor. He struggled, especially versus left-handed pitching. He really didn't come around until later in the year, and lost him in the last part of the year to an oblique strain for 5 weeks where he was on the injured list. I think it's growing pains. Baseball is a sport of evolution. So, guys are due for some regression a little bit because there's data on them now. One of the best things about baseball as a fan is the insane amount of data that we have, thanks to Baseball Savant. But that also means that teams are using that stuff to figure out how they want to approach hitters. What pitch does this guy hit well? Where does he hit it? What counts does he swing aggressive in? They know all that stuff. So when you have some of these second-year guys like Quan, Jimenez, Brennan, and the lineup, Bo Naylor, they have to adjust because pitchers know how to pitch them. It's this constant back and forth of people trying to figure each other out. And that's one of the things I love about baseball. It's just that constant, you're always trying to get that little bit of edge. But I think what you're seeing now is you're seeing the results of those growing pains. You're seeing the results of a down year. Nobody wanted to finish the way they did last year. We all had insane aspirations for the team after 2022, and a team of kids took the Yankees to Game 5 in the ALDS after walking it off at home in Cleveland. I thought Oscar Gonzalez was it. I thought that they had guessed it right. He ain't even with the team anymore, man.
Yeah,
that's how Well, me and Dion didn't have high expectations last year because we know baseball's hard.
It is.
They played so much above their heads in that season. You know what, Zach? All of it, what it's good for with each and every one of these guys is the experience, and we benefit from being in a bad division where we're going to play meaningful baseball games because the Baltimore Orioles young core won 52 games in 2018. They didn't get a chance to compete in a bad division, play meaningful games. That's so much experience to become a big league ball player. And I want to talk about the guy that's going to be a leader on our team already is I think the best shortstop in the American League is playing second base for the Cleveland Guardians. And I wondered why he doesn't want to play shortstop. And I thought maybe it'd be a money thing or the truth is I learned this from Avery, a baseball guy on that he wanted to be a catcher. And he didn't want to be, he didn't want to be a shortstop. And he always wanted to be a catcher growing up. And he's from Venezuela, which being a shortstop is, like being better than being the president, So he's my favorite Guardian right now. Jimenez he is just beautiful to watch play the game of baseball.
He is. And we've got him for a long time. I am super thankful that Mike Chernoff and Chris Antonetti locked him up the way that they did. They were very aggressive with that because I think they recognized some similarities between the Lindor situation and that if they did not lock him up when they did, guys like that are going to continue to price themselves out of your budget.
I got a question for Zach. We can talk about all these players, and obviously one of the great things in Cleveland in April is we're doing damage with the bats instead of just the potholes in Cleveland. Okay, there's my shot there. But we've got to talk about the manager and Stephen Vogt.
I was going to get there.
We have to go there. I like the aggressiveness that this Guardians team is showing on the base pass. I like the fact that he's getting everybody involved, like Florio. You may not start, but you'll be, he's pinch hitting guys. And I felt like, no offense to Tito, but I felt like, sometimes you need a new voice. You need that voice in the locker room. And, what I like about this team is you never know who's going to be the next hero. It's always the next man up. It's this guy. And I think Stephen Vogt's been doing a great job, but I want your thoughts on that. And also too, I got another question for you, and just not Bo Naylor, but Josh Naylor. Are we going to resign? Like, what is the deal with him? Because I'm getting nervous every time he does good. And I'm thinking, you know what? His price tag just went up. So your thoughts on the manager, and then got to talk about Josh Naylor, because as a Cleveland Guardians fan, I don't want to. He belongs in Cleveland, and I want him to stay there.
So when we learned that Tito was retiring, I can't remember who I said it to. I think I was having a discussion with Quincy Wheeler. I think I said, this is not a move that you can afford to get wrong. Your next manager is critical. You don't have a seasoned team of hardened veterans that are up there every day. You've got young second gear, some first year guys out there on that team that have never played or been a part of a 162 game season. Guys, baseball is brutal. They call it the dog days of summer for a reason. It's exciting right now when we're in April and everybody's healthy, but the injured list is going to be populated come July or August. How do you manage guys that I got drilled in the ribs yesterday and I'm sore and the depth chart's looking a little thin? The manager is critical in that. And I think it may be a little premature to say this. I mean, we're 3 weeks into the season?
3 weeks.
I think they got it right. I really think they do. If you watch the way that Stephen Vogt, the way he talks about his players, the way he addresses the media. I mean, come on, guys. This guy has to field questions from Paul Hoynes every night. And does it with absolute elegance. He's always defending his players. He's always complimentary of, even just tonight in the postgame conference about Boston. He was complimentary of Tanner Houck. The dude he threw a Maddox. He threw a complete game shutout in under 100 pitches, and he was hitting the corners. He was hitting his spots. He didn't leave anything over the plate. There's nothing you can do about that. You just tip your cap to the opponent and on to the next one. I really think I was a little nervous when they hired him. I'm like, he's only been out of the game not that long, but maybe that's not a bad thing, because I think it's lent him to be more in touch with where players are currently about the game. And Ed, you mentioned something that we saw in the Yankees game on Sunday. Vogt is very much about getting all of his players involved. We saw a ton of substitutions in the Yankees game. We saw, David Fry started the game at first, later moved to catcher when Arias was at first base. And when Bo Naylor was substituted into the game as a pinch hitter later, Fry moved back to first base to put Bo behind the plate. Understanding the defensive versatility of your players like that is huge. Knowing where you can put guys, when you can put them there, being able to, Fry can go catch, he can play right field, he can go to first base. Apparently, Gabriel Arias is now a center fielder and didn't look terrible out there tonight. Arias can play right field. You got Estevan Florial, who can go play right field as a left-handed bat. You got Ramon Laureano in the lineup, who crushes left-handers that can realistically play any outfield spot with a plus arm. Those are all things you have to know. And his brain for the game is very clearly in tune and humming with the engine that this team is driving right now.
Catchers make the best managers.
They do, but that's because their brain has to be so big. They have to be so far on top.
You're like the quarterback of the team.
They are. And that's why so often, guys like Adley Rutschman are such a diamond in the rough, because, you sometimes have catchers like Salvador Perez who are amazing at defense, and offense. And Adley Rutschman, he can call games, he can throw out base runners. He's a switch hitter at the plate and can hit absolute bombs. Like that just doesn't.
He's a unicorn. He's a unicorn.
It is, because it's so hard to focus on all those aspects of the game. A shortstop, they go out and they have to worry about range and arm strength, and they can go up and hit. Catchers, man, they're playing 4D chess on the ball diamond. And Ed, forgive me, I forget what you're saying.
Josh Naylor's contract.
Josh Naylor's contract.
Yeah.
So
help me.
I was really hoping. Chuck and I didn't get a chance to talk about this because I was in transition coming back from being deployed. We had talked about this a little bit, and that we were kind of hoping that Josh Naylor would be one of the guys that they aggressively pursued an extension with. I think after this year, if you do not get it done, you are content to ride him out through his arbitration years and then very likely trade him sometime with either maybe like a year and a half or a year of controllability left to get a return. And there's a lot of questions about that. I brought some draft talk with me a little bit. You can kind of think down the road a little bit, because the Guardians have the first pick in this year's Major League Baseball draft, and there is no shortage of talent to be found. Like, I know Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff are absolutely licking their chops at the way the current college baseball season is played out, but do I think Josh Naylor should be a Guardian for a really freaking long time? Absolutely. The dude is an animal. He is a rare breed of a spark plug. Like, I think back to 2022, the game that he absolutely decimated the White Sox franchise into poverty, where he hit a grand slam to tie the game and then later hit a 3-run homer.
3-run homer to win it. Yeah.
Guys like that are spark plugs. Like, if you listen to Josh in his interviews, he's the nicest, most respectful, all about his teammates, brother kind of guy. You put him on the field, he's an animal. He's an absolute dog.
Plus, his brother's on the team.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say is, know what your best shot is re-signing Josh Naylor is
the fact that Bo's going to be here.
Bo Naylor due for arbitration, and when is the younger Naylor that's still playing it ready to be drafted? You know what I mean? You get that kid in your organization, because Josh Naylor wants to play baseball with his brothers, and he's fine playing in Cleveland, and you could probably get him to take a Jose Ramirez type deal because he wants to stick with his family. Because you got Bo Naylor, who's probably arbitration wise got to be 2030 for God's sake, 2028 before he's so that plays a big role in keeping Josh Naylor in Cleveland, I believe.
I think so. And Andre asks Josh a lot about that. The game on Siblings Day where they both homered in the same inning. Andre asks Josh, what is it like to play baseball with your brother? And none of us knew that when they traded for Josh, that we'd ever see Josh and Bo playing together on the same team. And it's awesome, dude. Like, Bo, I think he's an above average catcher. He's got a really strong arm. He's got a really good bat for a left-hander. And the crazy thing is, a lot of people were ready to write him off after his 2021 season because he had a terrible 2021 season. But that happens. Guys figure it out as time goes on.
Sure.
Like I said, I really think they need to be aggressive. A lot of players do not like doing contract negotiations in the season. And that's because it detracts from the focus on the game. Baseball's busy. You're playing a 3-game series here. You're playing a 4-game series here. You've been on the West Coast for 11 days. You're jumping on a plane overnight to get to Chicago the next night. They don't want to deal with that. These guys all have great agents that advocate on their behalf. Most of them do not want to talk about contract stuff during the season. So most of these are probably on hold. I think they will probably be aggressive again in the offseason, especially if Josh continues. He's down a little bit right now, but he'll be fine. He's a great left-handed hitter. He's a perennial Gold Glove candidate at first base. His defense has come a long way. They would be really silly not to at least really, really try to get an extension done with him. So,
in all three Cleveland teams, there are so many likable players, I would say.
Yes.
Couple ones that aren't likable, but I agree. Like Josh, for whatever reason, is the most.
He's
like,
that dude.
Yeah, He's my
Who
favorite.
even knew if he would ever play again after his injury? You know, when he snapped his leg.
Well,
you know what I
thing
mean?
is,
Just coming back from that, he
Yeah.
endeared himself to us. You know.
Well, the thing is, there
Just
are
coming back.
guys in football with that injury that have hung it up after he did.
Right.
Josh should never play the outfield again after that injury.
Oh no, and he never will.
Absolutely. He's a first baseman. He's a guy you want on your team. Yep, he's good for the team. Chris and Mike, if you see this, get it done.
Right. I see him as an Andre Thornton, where he's a DH until he's 42. And then, you know.
Well, I'll take that.
Can probably go the route of Frank Thomas and play at first base until he's like 37, 38.
We have a fan question coming in from
Hot and heavy.
So Jessica, she asks, how would you compare this team to the Indians in the early 90s?
So now I have to preface this. So I'm 31. I was born in 1992. So I was 3 years old, a whopping 3 years old, when the 95 Indians were what they were. But I've done a lot of film watching on those teams. You know, I've read books about the 97 World Series.
That breaks my heart.
So I think it's hard to compare because the game has changed a lot. We have a lot more quantifiable science that we use when comparing players. But in terms of pure skill, the 95 Indians, the only thing that they were missing, the reason they lost to the Atlanta Braves in the World Series is they didn't have their team's Greg Maddux.
Yeah.
That's it. They were missing the true ace. That lineup, 1 through 9, could hit. Those boys could hit. The 97 team, those boys could hit. And I think they had the pitching figured out a little more. It's just Jose Mesa blew an
2 outs away.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, how many Hall of Fame?
And some guys, the pressure it gets to them. So I think if we're comparing teams, there's a lot to be excited about, but they're very different because the 95 and 97 teams were very seasoned veterans. This team is young and hungry. And that appetite can't be bought. You can't teach that desire to win and go up and think you have a chance to club a game-tying grand slam just because the bases are loaded with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. I think that's invaluable to have, and they've been very careful and very meticulous in their roster construction. And this run is by no means over. Guys are going to continue to get better this year. There's a first-round first pick on the way. They're very similar in their ability to win, but they're very different in terms of their composition. This team is youthful, and I think the upside is more than we've seen, and I think more than we could imagine.
Zach, first pick in the draft. Are we going bat or pitching?
I think they're taking a bat. I think you'd.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's no way you can't tell me, like, guys, Jack Caglione, Charlie Condon, Travis Bazzana, Nick Kurtz. Like, don't sleep on Nick Kurtz. Don't sleep on Braden Montgomery at Texas Tech either. He's fallen a little bit, to the conversation and fallen below the conversation of Bazzana and Condon. He has hit 13 home runs in 9 games playing for Wake Forest. The dude is absolutely swinging some lumber right now. I don't really think there's a way that you can get this wrong other than they're just going to have to prioritize what position they want. Are you drafting Jose Ramirez's replacement? Are you drafting a power outfielder? Are you drafting a first baseman? Which, if you look at the historical draft data on first baseman, they don't really typically pan out very much. But, I mean, these guys are having absolutely monster college seasons. And if you go back to January, everybody was like, oh, there's not really a consensus number 1 pick, versus in 2023, everybody was of the mind that Paul Skeens would very likely be the number 1 overall pick. There wasn't really one coming into this year. If you looked at mock drafts from MLB.com, Prospects Live, Baseball America, they were all over the place. Now it's shaken out really. You could take Charlie Condon, Jack Caglione, or Travis Bazzana, or Nick Kurtz, and I don't really think you could get it wrong.
Okay.
I don't think
I want bats. Just give me bats. Just give me a bat.
Yeah, I think being in the first draft position puts an unnecessary amount of pressure to take the best available pitcher, but I don't know. They may surprise us. So, if you guys follow any of the guys on Twitter that do a lot of Guardians draft analysis, Willie Hood thinks that the Guardians will take Connor Griffin because Connor Griffin matches their model in the way that they pick players. Connor Griffin is a prep high school guy. He's 18. He's obviously a guy that's going to be a couple years down the road. Do you take him and develop him into your next franchise superstar, or do you go the route of like another Chase DeLauder type, a guy that can be ready in a year and a half? And make no mistake, I think we're going to see Chase DeLauder in Cleveland this year. So that's the type of almost immediate impact that you're talking about when you draft a guy. If it's a guy like Travis Bazzana with an insane work ethic, you could see him in Cleveland probably next year.
It's winning time now. We got to win. The window's
it is.
Yeah, it's
winning time. It's also nodding time. I'm just pretending I know all these names spitting out.
These are all guys that are having insane college years.
Yeah,
they're having
Zach. We were laughing, Andy and I, chuckling at this comment coming up, but we have to put it up.
Friend of the show, Joe Stever. He asked you to compare and contrast Bradley Zimmer and Anthony Bennett.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I don't even know who Anthony Bennett is.
Worst bust in the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'd say, history. We took him number 1. Was that before we took Kyrie or whatever like that? It was
Kyrie.
Man. Yeah. So a preface: I'm not a big basketball guy. I follow the Cavs casually. Man, I can't think of a more recent bigger flop than Bradley Zimmer. He absolutely tore it up in the minors. He pushed the issue to be on the team. I think when he got called up, he was batting like 360 something at Columbus and had like 24 homers.
Zach, if you don't know Anthony Bennett, there's no comparison. Bradley Zimmer was no Anthony Bennett.
No, he was.
Deshaun Watson.
Bradley Zimmer was about as big of a flop as you could get. The organization had so much faith in him, and that's the thing that sucks about baseball. This goes back to what we opened with. Baseball is hard. It's when you make that jump from AAA to the majors. I mean, you have to figure these AAA guys, they're seeing a handful of what we call 4A pitchers every week. Career minor league guys that are the 27th man in a doubleheader, guys that get added to the 26th man for a spot start and then immediately DFA'd. When you get to the major leagues, you are facing the best of the best. The percentage size of players that you are seeing goes from this to this.
Yeah.
Right.
You are facing the top 1% of all baseball players in the United States. And some guys just can't make the leap. But unfortunately, part of baseball is you have to find that out.
Sure.
You have to put it to the sauce. And Bradley Zimmer wasn't that. And apparently Anthony Bennett wasn't either.
No, he was not. That is correct. You don't have to know much to know that.
You were talking about, I was at the ball game. We got tickets. We were right first base dugout. Bradley Zimmer's first game, his parents and his family were right there, by the net, first base dugout, by the visitor dugout. But that's where he took pictures. We were right behind him, 3 rows up. His first game in Cleveland. And yeah, you're right. The hopes. He made a catch that same game. We walked around. He made a catch in center field where he laid out vertical. He was about 4 feet off the ground. And I thought he was the next greatest center fielder to wear a Cleveland uniform.
We all thought that he was the second coming of Grady Sizemore.
Speaking of Grady Sizemore.
Grady Sizemore, exactly.
Bigger piece of glass, Grady Sizemore, or again, you said you're not the biggest Cavs fan, Darius Garland.
No, I definitely know. So this is more in my time frame. So I'm definitely up on Darius Garland and some of the issues he's faced. I'm gonna go Grady on this one. Grady, I think Garland's gonna be fine. If you guys look at Garland, he had that injury. He lost 10 pounds. And in basketball, weight is everything. It's your leverage. It affects your balance. It affects your shooting mechanics. It affects your passing, your timing, everything. Yeah. Garland's gonna be fine. They did not make a mistake signing him to the contract that they did. He's gonna be okay. Grady Sizemore had a back injury and he was never the same player after. Guys, I cannot express to you in my lifetime just how exciting it was every time Grady Sizemore came up to bat.
Were you one of Grady's ladies like I was?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like the dude, he had comparisons in his prime to Barry Bonds and the way that Barry Bonds started his career. Those are high honors. And he had that lower back injury where his vertebrae got damaged, and he was never the same player after. He couldn't run the way he could.
Bro, hi.
Ohio, bro, Ed.
No, he went to
That's
Ohio.
you were. I know.
I'm definitely going to go.
you were.
I'm definitely going to go Grady on this one because I think Darius has suffered some unfortunate luck. That eye injury he had last year was just bad luck, but he'll be okay. But Grady had the lower back injury, and he was
yeah.
I can't.
I think with Garland, it's just the further he's away from it, man. Nobody's taking more shots to the face than Darius Garland, man. And I just think that the hesitation I think it'll fade. Like the fear of it will fade, and he'll be back to being. I'm not worried about that. I just think it's too close because, man, nobody's been punched. The only buddy, it's like Mike Tyson opponent. The only person been punched in the face more than Darius Garland.
It's like Andre. It's like Darius Garland getting hit in the face is comparable to Andreas Jimenez getting hit by pitches. Please stop injuring my team's players. Thank you,
Brandon Geyer.
Joe,
Brandon Geyer.
Andy, we got to do it. We got to do it. Andy.
Acknowledge this last question, and feel free to not answer this one. But
I want to answer this one.
He wants to ask who has the bigger dong, Lonnie or Travis Hafner?
Hafner, man.
It has to be
easily, no doubt.
Lonnie didn't have a nickname about how big his dick was. I mean, stupid question, Joe.
Yeah, easily pronk.
You're banned from the show.
Scrawny Lonnie. That's what I thought.
How do you can't get banned from Dog Chug? How the hell?
I just did it.
It's got to be impossible.
Joe is the one that named the Dog Chug, by the way.
Oh, well, he's got carte blanche then. He's got carte blanche.
He must be.
Big long.
Listen, both were great, but Travis Hafner,
man,
all that dude did was hit dongs. So
Hafner was fun. All right, we're moving along to Spit, Sip, Chug, and in this bit, I'm gonna read a statement. If you strongly agree, I'm gonna grab another beer for this. Oh, nice. He drinks.
Yes, get a beer.
Oh. Well, speaking of Andy,
moved into friend of the show status.
Yeah.
Hey guys, listen, I'm accidentally drunk again, and I don't have to be. I have to be on a job downtown Akron at 8 a.m. That's why I had an extra beer. I'm gonna have another one more. Yeah.
By the way, if you guys are ever,
I'm drinking it. Yeah.
If you guys are ever in Tampa, this is Cigar City Brewing's J Ale IPA. Highly recommend.
I feel like when I visited my parents in Florida, I've seen the brewery. I don't know that I've had that.
Where's it at? Well, I'm sorry, where are you at?
Tampa.
I'm in Tampa, so this is Cigar City Brewing.
Okay.
Nice.
Highly recommend.
All right, well, everyone go check that out. Okay, so I'm gonna read a statement. If you strongly agree, you're gonna chug and explain why. If you're in the middle, you're gonna sip, and then if you strongly disagree, you're gonna spit. All right, pretty simple.
All right.
We'll start with Roger. Roger, I am going to allow you to sip today.
All right, thank you. I'm already drunk, so.
So Nick Chubb just restructured his contracts, went pretty low. So the statement is Nick Chubb will not have 500 yards rushing this season.
I'm first? Man, I'm spitting on that. Nick Chubb is coming back. Oh my God,
you said he won't have 900 yards?
He will not have 500 yards rushing.
500.
500. I'm spitting on that all day.
Yeah.
I'm spitting on that all day.
You're saying I'll have over. Roger. All right. I don't know if you froze or if you're just okay. He apparently is moving. Not saying anything.
I you know what? I didn't want to start. I heard Zach talking. I thought you went to him for a minute. I didn't want to talk over. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna change. I'm a sip. I'm in the middle.
Okay.
Okay, he's in the middle.
All right. So Roger, why are you chugging?
Because it's Nick Chubb. If it's anybody else, I would sip or I would chug on it because you don't have heart or I sit because maybe the guy's too soft and he don't. It's Nick Chubb. If anybody's going to come back, it's Nick Chubb. He's got Chubb Town to save. His namesake, his town that he's from, in Alabama, I believe, right? Yeah, Georgia. No, Georgia. And Nick Chubb, if anybody come back, it's Nick Chubb. So I'm spitting on that. He'll have 780 yards. How about that?
All right.
Take that, dog.
I have a follow-up question. Who do you think has the bigger dong, Hafner or Chubb?
Hafner or who?
Or Nick Chubb?
The Hafner is roided out. So like his ball sack shriveled up and everything. He was, we come out of he was in the pool. Hafner. Even though it's nothing. Nick Chubb got BBC. Nick Chubb got BBC. You see him, he squats like 900 pounds. Going Nick Chubb all day with the bong.
Chubb has bigger balls, but Hafner has bigger dick. Is that?
Hafner's all jazz. Bad news.
All right, Ed.
Oh wow! How do you follow that? I'm definitely spitting. I don't know. Because let's be real, 500 yards is nothing. Jerome Harrison had like 295 yards against Kansas City, and what did he ever do? I mean, there's running backs that get 200 yards and you never hear about them again. And I did a little math, and if you take, I don't think he's going to play 17 games, but if he did decide to play 17 games, he'd only have to average like 29 yards a game to get 500 yards. So he's definitely going to do it, and he's a workaholic, and I think he has a bigger dick than Pronk. So yeah, he's going to get it done.
But what about who has the bigger balls?
Well, I think Hafner. Here's his thing. Ask Jose Canseco. This is a misconception. Ask Jose Canseco. Steroids shrink your balls, but it doesn't your dick. So that's what he said. So I don't know if that's just like in a comparison. Maybe his balls got so small that his dick looked bigger. I don't know, but that's what he says. And Jose Canseco knows everything about steroids. And he met his wife in Cleveland at Hooters, Jennifer, his first wife. So yeah, shout out to Jose. But
Jose Canseco has also said a lot of other just absolutely insane shit. So take that.
Well, I think with steroids, I'm going to trust him with that one since I think he's an expert.
He does have a lot of experience. All right, Zach.
Okay, so I sipped on this because I was thinking about it. A lot of this depends on when Chubb comes back. We don't know what his recovery timeline looks like. He had major reconstruction surgery on the same knee that he already injured coming out of college in 2 major ligaments, not just one. So, I mean, y'all saw the play. Minkah Fitzpatrick, get lost, dude. Come on. But is there anybody that's going to work harder than Nick Chubb to get back on that field for his boys? Absolutely not. Is there anybody that's going to work harder on the field when he's there than Nick Chubb? No. When he comes back is the question. So that's why I sipped, because you come back. I think a week 10 return is a reasonable goal. It's not too soon. It's not too late. 6 games. Nick Chubb is a dog. True and true. That dude will bully his way into 6-7 yards when it looked like he was going to get 2. So just depends. They could choose to play it safe. It is the last year of his deal. They could, depending on how the season goes, maybe use a little bit of that leverage to bring him back, but I don't think he cares about that. I think he wants to be on the field with his boys, but a lot of that just depends on when he gets cleared to play. So that's why I sipped.
All right. I am, let's see, he will not have so yeah, I don't, when I saw the restructure numbers, my feeling is both parties, Nick Chubb's camp and the Browns, do not think he's going to be back for a long time, just because, he took a massive pay cut.
It's like a massive hit from a massive human being.
Yeah, sure. And it took him 2 years to recover from this similar injury from Georgia. So I just don't know that he's going to be back. I don't think he's going to be healthy I think he'll come back like maybe at the tail end of the season. He is superhuman. It would take many running backs probably 2 years. He'll probably come back like at the tail end of the season when we need him, because you need running backs when it gets cold. more than ever. So I do think Nick Chubb's going to have some production, and it's going to be a great story. But I think everyone is just going to protect Nick. I think they want to bring him back. I met the owner of the Cleveland Browns came and basically said to an audience of people that we are going to extend Nick Chubb's contract. They obviously didn't do that, but I think they're going to bring him back once he's deemed healthy. I think he wants to be here. He's Nick Chubb, but this is all to say I do not think he's going to have 500 yards rushing at the end of the season. I think he's going to come back very late. He's going to be very productive. He'll be a beast in the playoffs, hopefully, but. I'm chugging.
Does he have a bigger dick than Pronk?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Nick Chubb.
It's only fair we get your answer since you've asked all.
Anyone that
he definitely has a bigger dick than Pronk.
Anyone that talks that little is the most confident person in the universe. So they must have a massive dick.
Okay.
The more you talk, the smaller your dick is. In my experience.
This is the point where I change and I chug. But I already drank 2 9%, and I'm into my second 8%.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. Pronk. Never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead, Andy.
Make him chug. Roger, go ahead and chug for that.
That's a chuggy moment right there.
He owes us a chug.
Ross, when you rewatch this, please isolate that for a chuggy. Okay. All right. First of all, wait. What were you gonna say? I need to know.
What I was gonna say, because Ross ain't here. I'm chugging Cincinnati beer because Ross ain't here tonight. And I sent him a message, and I was waiting to get a response from him, but I didn't get one about Nick Chubb. So I interrupted. I thought I got a text, but it was actually somebody taking money out of my account, and not Ross texting me back. I thought I was getting a live text from Ross, so I interrupted for that.
You got accidentally drunk. It happens. Okay. Ed, we're going to start with you.
Yes.
The Cavs will, similar to last year, they will lose the first round series. They will lose to the Orlando Magic.
Oh, jeez. I have to sip.
Ooh.
Here's why, because looking at all the prognostications on who's going to win the series, it's 50-50. Magic in 7, Cavs in 7, Magic in 6, Cavs in 6. I don't think anybody in the NBA that actually has better knowledge than us knows. It's one of those series where it really is a coin flip. What scares me, though, about this series, I'm not going to lie, it harkens back to 2009 Eastern Conference Finals. Orlando's got the size on us once again. We have the small guards like we had Mo Williams and Delonte West back in 2009, and now we got Mitchell, and it's not. Oh, jeez, Joe. I'll say this. I want to answer. Sam Merrill. He goes deep. He goes deep. That's all I got to say. And Joe, also too, since he did name the dog Chug, Andy, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell everybody once again that Spit Sip Chug was my doing. But here's the deal. Like I said, I am sipping on that. Orlando scares me. It starts on 420. I don't want to go up and smoke against the Orlando Magic because I don't like them, and it will always bother me what happened in 2009 because that stopped a Kobe and LeBron potential final that we never got to see in the NBA. So fuck Dwight Howard and fuck the Orlando Magic.
All right, Zach.
Okay, so Orlando outsizes the Cavs, but I would argue that there's no team in the Eastern Conference more capable of just absolute magic than the Cavs. When the Cavs are hitting, they're hitting. I can't explain it. Like, the mantra seems to be for the Cavs the last 2 years, they'll play a great first half, they'll play a mediocre third quarter, they'll play an absolutely dog shit 10 minutes of the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey guys, there's a game to play, we have to win. So I think a lot of this depends. So Evan Dammerel tweeted out about 8 hours ago, Dean Wade did not practice today in the expectation that he's not going to play game 1. Not having a guy like Dean Wade with as important as he was in the games that he did play this year, it hurts. So you're going to need guys like Darius, you're going to need Max Strus to step up, you're going to need Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, and Donovan Mitchell to all be huge because they're going to be seeing a majority of the playing time. It's playoff time. I think Paolo Banchero that dude is on another level. I think if you contain him and you can take away one of the elements that the Magic bring, I think it gives you a slight edge. But come on, guys, let's be honest. We know the Cavs don't play defense. Their missing piece for the last 2 years has been a lockdown defender off the bench. I think if you can limit him when it's important and at least put pressure on him and make him miss a couple shots, the edge goes to the Cavs. But I'm spitting on that. The Cavs win the first round and then on to the second to see who we face.
All right. They will lose. I'm gonna spit. Not loving where the Cavs are at, and there's a lot of issues and whatever. A lot to talk about them. But I do know one thing, and that's our billionaire owner seems more obsessed with Cavs like winning a playoff series without LeBron being on the roster than any person ever. And he's got a lot of money, and I think he will like do whatever it takes. Like I think he'll literally have people go beat up the Orlando Magic team, and whatever. He'll hired guns. He'll figure it out. He's going to do some shady shit to make sure that he's already threatened every member of the org. You're all fired if you don't win this. That might put too much pressure on them, but again, I think he'll get shady. So I think they're going to win this series, and then obviously they're not going to win another series. They'll lose to Boston, I think, at that point. But he'll be happy because the Cavs are getting better. So, but smart money is to bet the Cavs right now. Roger.
Well, first of all, if Dan Gilbert wants to rough people up or slash tires, my DMs are open, and you can. I know I have some Russian immigrant cousins that they have no future that can handle that. Secondly, talking about Cavs, the last time I said anything about the Cleveland Cavaliers, Lysandro was on, and we're the second seed team in the East, and we were cruising, and we were just like on cloud nine. And now, and this is what I was saying about him is weird. We compared him to the Atlanta Hawks. Great team of the Atlanta Hawks. What year was that?
2015.
There you go. Thank you, Ed. He's like my little like note at the bottom of my clip. So I don't think they're that like the great because right after that everything changed. They weren't a great regular season team. I do think I want to spit on it with Andy. I'm going to spit on it because I know a guy. I'm going to tell you why I think they can win is I know a guy that bought a car the same place Josh Allen bought a car. He knows bumped into him buying a car. So I think the Cavs are going to beat the Magic because of that.
So wait, Josh Allen?
Josh Allen, I think it was.
You meant the quarterback of the Bills?
Oh.
You mean Josh Gordon?
Wrong Allen. No. That's what I see.
Yeah.
I think Roger did get excellent drunk tonight.
Andy, this Joe once again is bringing up an interesting comparison here, and the only thing I got to add to this one is I have a Stephen Kwan bobblehead, and I'm going to say Stephen Kwan in that because if it's actual depiction of real life, hey, that also bobbles as well, if you know what I mean.
Wow, why are you staring at your bobblehead's dicks?
Because it poked me in the eye when I opened the box.
Okay. All right, move on to statement number 3. Zach, we're going to start with you. It's embarrassing the Browns removed some of Chubb's money, but Watson is still going to earn every penny.
I'm going to go chug on that. So hold on. Let me get a good sip here. So you will not find a bigger Deshaun Watson hater than me. I don't
know about that one. I don't know.
I know Roger is pretty big up there, but listen, I hated the trade from day one. I hate him, and I hate the way that, dude, the whole thing is just a mess. It's embarrassing because, one, Deshaun has not played up to the expectations of his contract. Nick Chubb is that dude. If I want 4th and 1 at the goal line with 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, do I want Deshaun Watson throwing the ball or do I want Nick Chubb running into the end zone. I'm giving the rock to Nick Chubb 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
It's
yes.
It's embarrassing. Maybe embarrassing isn't the word. I think it's mismanagement because Nick Chubb is the last person in the world that deserves to be treated like that because of all that he has done for the team. The dude has never complained. He goes out, he practices hard, he runs hard, he puts the team on his back when it matters. And I've had to watch Deshaun Watson over the course of 3 years not play a full season. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, come on. Like, guys, are we still even on this? No. Like, Deshaun has not played to the level that he did before, with the contract that he got to the level that we thought he would play at. He hasn't. Is there anybody that deserves to have his contract restructured? It's Deshaun. A $50 million cap hit? Are you fucking kidding me?
It's more than that.
It's more than that. I think it's
64
64?
Something
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
Like, out of all the players on the team, you're going to tell me that you chose the running back who has given his heart and soul to this team to restructure? Fuck off, dude. Come on. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm chugging that shit.
All right.
Oh, beautiful.
I need to get a beer.
If y'all show up in my fucking Twitter comments, I'm ready for a fight. Just so you know.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Don't say that to Roger.
Well, yeah,
No,
Roger and I are
I'm
the
on
same
this-
team in this argument. Roger
We're
and I are on the same
this
team.
one. Right. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Andy.
When I was talking about my love for Josh Naylor, the only other guy that like even is close to that level would
It's
be
Nick Chubb, man.
Chubb. Yeah,
Oh, I thought it was going to say me, Andy. I thought you were going to say me.
I mean, it's a member of the Cleveland sports. If I was saying my best friend, I'd go Roger.
Oh, that
But-
makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, so I love Nick Chubb. I mean, good Lord, is there a more fun player to root for to watch? Every run is just like, oh my God, like, you have to love the players in your team because you have to love them. But like, is there a guy that earns your love more than Nick Chubb? I don't think
Do you
there-
love Deshaun Watson?
No.
Because you just said you have to love the players on your
Well,
team.
fine, all right. I root for him. It's-
Okay.
he's my quarterback, so like on some level I got to find a way to like whatever. But yeah, he's a little like aloof. I don't know. He doesn't seem like a real person when he talks sometimes, and
Yes.
maybe I'm racist. I don't know. But I love Nick Chubb, so I guess not. But anyway, yeah, say less, do more is my kind of like what I love a player to do. So this is a really roundabout way of just saying I think I'm not angry at the fact that like Nick Chubb got his shit reduced and Deshaun's gonna get every penny. I'm more angry at like just the reality that in the NFL the running back position is weighed like 1/10 of what the quarterback position is right now, and that the Browns were so insecure about their quarterback situation that they just said, okay, we'll take a douchebag, and deal with all the nonsense that's going to come in and pay you ungodly amounts of money and give you all these draft picks. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is my anger isn't so much at the fact that like Deshaun gets his money and Nick Chubb doesn't, but it's more at like the Browns kind of fucked up when they made that decision. And
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, like if a running back's not healthy, I don't know, like if the business decision is to like, let's cut your contract. Cause I mean, so many running backs have gotten fucked over by their teams, right?
Yeah.
Are the Browns any different? Not really. So I hope Nick Chubb balls out and then they like come up with some 3-year contract and he gets to like retire as a Brown or something. That would be like the greatest thing ever. But I don't know. It is. I guess I'm more angry at the past than I'm angry at this point. You paid him. You can't restructure his contract. So I'm not gonna like if their plan was, hey Deshaun, we're gonna cut your contract in half. Obviously he's gonna say fuck off, and that's not gonna work. So I don't necessarily think it's embarrassing that the way things have been handled. So what does that mean? I'm gonna spit. I'm gonna spit.
Very nice. That was a solid one.
Roger.
You know what, man? I say a lot of crazy things on Dog Chug, especially when we get to this point of the show, and I get DMs. during the show, like right now, and say, "What are you talking about?" It's just, in all honesty, in all sincerity, is it embarrassing that the Browns like took money from Nick Chubb? It's a business, and that's what it is. It's a business. When you want to take, they don't have to put. There's not fan emotion in the equation between an agent and a front office of a franchise.
Yep.
For the fan emotions in the equation, but for them, it is not in the equation. But the other part of it's like two parts. Deshaun Watson, he's never going to earn every penny that he's already paid, and it's in the bank. It's already in the bank. He don't have to earn it, and that's the part that gets me about Deshaun Watson, is he does not have to earn it. Nick Chubb said, "You know what? Give me this, and I will earn my money." They took money away, and they said, "But you can earn it back." Nick Chubb said, "Fine, I'll go and earn it back." Maybe it ain't this year. Maybe it's in the next year. But Deshaun Watson will never. He's already behind. I mean, he's going to have to win 2 Super Bowls in a row to make his contract work what we gave up for him. You know what?
Yeah.
Here's what gets glossed over, and it blows my mind: is we got beat in the playoffs, and everybody wants to blame Joe Flacco for 2 interceptions that he threw when he knew his defense was out of the fucking game because they give up 20, 30 points on the fucking road. And Joe Flacco said, "Well, I might as well just start slinging it." What really it drives me crazy. What really don't blame Joe Flacco. You know what I mean? Blame the Browns because we lost to the Texans, who we traded and gave them all the draft picks, and now they have an elite quarterback and they have multiple skill positions. You know what? We lost to a team that we traded. We said, "Hey, we're going to take this quarterback and we're going to be an elite, football team and be in the Super Bowl," and we lose to the team that we traded to. You know what I mean? It just gets glossed over. Man, I can't wait till this deal's over. The biggest thing about all of this, Nick Chubb's contract to Deshaun Watson, is they did not extend Deshaun Watson because after this season, they can cut bait just like Denver did with Russ. So what?
$128 million cap hit next year. Then,
Right.
Here's the thing, though. You can do a season to retool with a journeyman quarterback and just take the hit. I mean, the Broncos were at the point where they were willing to take it. Is Jimmy Haslam capable of admitting? Okay, so the real question is Jimmy Haslam capable of admitting that he was wrong? The obvious answer is no. Are we going to ride?
He's still paying Mike Pettin. So, you know what I mean? He's still paying people.
But he's paying Mike Pettin for Mike to sit on his couch and watch the games on Sundays.
Right, but that's an admission of being wrong. I'm still paying Mike to sit at home.
I don't think Jimmy's pride can handle that a second time. I think, unfortunately, we're going to, make it either way.
He's a bigger soccer fan now, and he's got soccer championships.
We win championships in Columbus.
We do.
Yeah, there you go, Ed.
All right.
Shout out to the crew.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to keep this fast and simple. I am spitting from the
wait, hold on. Robert Kraft or Deshaun Watson? Bigger day.
Robert Kraft.
Thank you. If I'm Robert Kraft and I have millions, yeah, I do. I'm having one sewn on, attached, something.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a reason why they signed those NDAs, and maybe there's a reason why Deshaun doesn't want that getting out. Here's the thing. Okay, so I'm going to keep this one real simple. From a organizational standpoint, I am spitting because, look, I don't think it's an embarrassment for the Browns. They just have to do what they have to do. But as a fan, I am definitely chugging. All right. It is embarrassing as a fan that we have to, say that Deshaun Watson gets all this guaranteed money, and somebody like Nick Chubb who gave his heart and his soul to the city of Cleveland and played in all different circumstances and did the right thing and I remember when he went down that one game and against the Houston Texans and could have got a touchdown, but he did the right thing. We won't talk about the Jets game. But here's the thing, he does everything for the city, and for him to take a pay cut is kind of embarrassing from a fan's point of view. And we have to sit here and defend that to these Yinzers on X, these Bengals fans on X, and all the people that Roger fights with on X. So yes, that's embarrassing from that standpoint.
All right. Well done, man. That was excellently said. I know we're getting late in the show, but I did just get a message.
No, we got to do it. Yes.
Chuck wants to come on for Chuck's Corner. It was his wife's birthday today, so he had to wait till, after she fell asleep. He's ready to come on. I have to go pee though. So Roger, Ed,
I'll take over the commands. I got to zoom out. You know what, Ed? I want to tell you, Andy, go ahead, Andy.
Well, one thing I want to ask is, Zach, you've been with Chuck a long time.
Yep.
Obviously, a little OCD. He's got a big personality. What's one of your funniest Chuck stories that you can entertain?
Something, yeah.
He has a banger for us. He makes us all laugh.
So the reason that Chuck can make you laugh is because Chuck will deadpan the most dead ass serious comment that you could possibly think of. So I think I have to think back. We were recording a podcast episode last season in 2023, and I think we were recording it at the beginning of August. It was when the team was really down bad. They had just traded Aaron Savali for Kyle Manzardo to the Rays, and we were talking about how it was basically a commitment to that the season was kaput. Bieber was on the IL. Tristan was not far from being not great. He had a couple great starts, but he didn't look good. I'm sitting there recording, and we record all of our stuff on Zoom, and I go, this really feels like a move that retools for next year. And Chuck just goes, I shit you not, it is snap of the finger as fast as I can get it out. He's replying to me, well, I could be dead next year. I don't give a shit. I want to win now. I want to win a World Series while I'm alive. I think that is one of my favorite things about Chuck, is that he is unabatedly himself. When I started my podcast, I had no idea that I was going to come across Chuck on Twitter and invite him onto my show and eventually ask him to be my co-host. I just guide the conversation, but Chuck, he will tell you how he feels about something. He is a fantastic baseball mind. His brain for the game is light years ahead of the rest of us. There is nobody that can talk top to bottom prospects in the organization better than Chuck. There's nobody that can probably tell you what the team needed to do differently to win a game better than him. And he's just himself, and he does not give a shit what you think about it. And that should be cherished because it's awesome. And that's why I'm damn proud to call him my co-host on my podcast.
I love it. And last year I used tough love on him because he got so down. And I said, Chuck, listen, man, so I said, listen, Chuck, you can't live and die one game at a time. Chuck, I love him. He's beautiful.
He is.
And Ed, I'm going to turn it over to you because I think we're ready.
Okay. Well, without further ado, this is our third iteration of Chuck's Corner. Now, the first time, not so good. Second time last week, Zach, your boy brought it last week. He actually extended his time. He got extra innings last week. He was so good. So bringing him on for the third time on the Dog Chug, Chuck.
Chuck's Corner.
Chuck's Corner.
He's back for tonight. You know what? He went to his wife's birthday tonight.
Yeah.
And he didn't think he'd make the show. But here we are. And Chuck's here to join us for Chuck's Corner. Chuck.
Whoa.
Hi.
Chuck, what's going on? I want to ask you, are you enjoying the success so far of the Guardians, Chuck?
I mean, you have no idea. It's so stressful, Roger. Thanks for having me on, by the way, but it's like you have no idea what I go through on a day in and day out, watching every pitch.
You see that we have your co-host on, Zach. This is, we didn't think you'd be able to make us tonight with your wife's birthday. But Zach's here, man. You know what, Chuck? This has been this is probably my favorite Dog Chug episode because this is like a real podcast with real baseball information. Zach was awesome. What do you think? Have you been watching? Did you catch any of the show?
No, I didn't watch any. I was just so upset about the Guardians' loss. But
how many aneurysms, Chuck?
I missed my wife's birthday. When I watch the game, I have like a popcorn bucket. I put popcorn in there. I put Red Bull. I put Prozac. I put some other things, and I took it all. I passed out. It was horrible.
That's Chuck. That's the third time now you've taken sleeping pills. The first time so this is the third time in a row we're with the sleeping pills again, aren't we?
It doesn't work. I was up all night.
Jeez, Chuck.
Hey, let me ask you about. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said you're enjoying it. So what about? You were upset about Bieber.
Yeah,
Biebs.
Oh.
You love Bieber. You were upset.
My sister, she has like this prize Pomeranian dog that she like puts in all these things, like whatever. And she went on vacation, so I was watching the dog, and she was really nervous that I was going to do a good job. But I said, I can handle it. So I was walking the dog. I got the tweet that Bieber was out. I dropped the leash, and it just zipped right into traffic and got hit by a car. And it was like the dog was lucky because like how I felt when I read that tweet, like that was way worse.
wow.
Well, it covers.
Stephen
Chuck,
Vogt,
I've got to say, I've missed you, buddy. I'm digging the shave.
It's good to see you, Zach. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know. I was just so stressed. I just shaved it all off.
What? Tell us about what do you think about the new manager so far? We're the best team in baseball, Chuck.
He smiles too much. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it.
You're rocking back and forth, Chuck. Everything okay? Everything okay there?
I learned it from you, Ed.
Okay.
You rock when you get nervous.
Okay. Question about the dinner tonight with your wife. Now, the Guardians lost. Did that affect the dinner in any way, or is it?
Oh, there's like a spot on my on my wall that I punch like right by the chair, and we live in an apartment, so like I punched a hole through the wall into my apartment's neighbor's room, and I got so mad that I broke like the TV, and I have to see every pitch. Thank God they happened to be watching the Guardians game, so I was able to like look through the hole and continue watching the game, which actually turned out to be terrible because it was a horrible game. I don't know. I missed her birthday. I was so upset about it.
What will you be throwing up later? So basically, what did you have for dinner tonight? What will you be throwing up later tonight?
A lot of Prozac.
Okay. Plate full of Prozac. Way to go, Chuck.
I missed my best man's wedding because I was so upset about the Guardians, and he called and he wanted to hang out, and I literally just drove over to his house and keyed his car and put some sugar in the tank, and then I came back home and I was still really upset, but I felt better.
Chuck, I see. You went out tonight you have your dress V-neck on, the black one, the dress one.
Yeah.
I
had some stains on the old one, but I always said like to change it up, so I put this one on. I haven't gotten stains on it yet, but night's young.
Well, we had a great time. Tonight it's an hour and a half, 90-minute show so far, Chuck.
Sorry,
we're trying to say goodnight.
Sorry, I'm not bringing the energy, Roger. I just I'm really upset. Like you have no idea what I'm feeling right now.
We're trying to hang up and say goodnight, and
this is like one of those nights that I would have told Zach I just can't do it. I can't come on.
Well, you came on, Chuck. You brought it tonight. We were so glad to have you on the Dog Chug. Coming back next week. Are you going to make it?
That's my co-host,
baby. Wait a minute. You guys are done? Like you're only going to have me on for?
Yeah. Well, Chuck, you're scaring people, and mostly us right now.
I stayed up.
And he's gone.
Yeah. Well, Chuck, you keep coming back.
Chuck.
You can't get rid of you. It's like Let's party
gonna
words.
sign.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna sign off, Chuck. Thanks
This might
for
be my
coming
last
on, Chuck.
last time on the dog truck. You guys don't appreciate me, and whatever. Fuck you.
No, you're making your next start next week, Chuck. Don't worry about it. That's Chuck, everybody.
All
That's
right,
Chuck,
there's Chuck's Corner.
Yeah,
Chuck's Corner. It's a regular feature. Zach, every week Chuck comes on, and you know what? I got a DM from Chuck. I was like, "Hey, you're gonna be on after I did the promo." He's like, "Roger, I don't know if I can make it." I was like, "Hey, man, you know how we operate here. No problem. Come on, no big deal. Me and Ed will do a show. I'll sit here by myself and talk for an hour. It don't matter."
Hey, you know what?
And
One of
he
the
said,
things that
"Tonight's
Chuck and
my
I
wife's
always
birthday,"
say
and he
is
said, "Tonight's
family
my wife's
first.
birthday," and I was like, "For God's sakes, Chuck, spend a birthday with your
Yes.
wife. Don't worry
Yes.
about the podcast."
Well, but we
But
got him on. Hey, Andy, you missed him. You missed
Andy,
Chuck.
hey, you
Andy,
missed it.
you just
We had
Andy, you just
Chuck
the
on.
world's longest piss, dude.
No,
Like,
it
holy shit.
turned into a whole thing. Like I shit myself and then I had to clean up. It was awful.
Damn, man.
I put my by the way, I take my outer layer off when I go into the bathroom. It's disgusting bringing it
Were
out.
your toilets clogged like the caps?
I put it on backwards. Like this is
Oh.
It's trying to run back so fast, get on the show.
I thought your toilets
Anyway,
were
how did
clogged.
Chuck do? I heard a lot.
Best performance ever. Best performance ever.
Sweet.
Probably
He
the
was
best-
unabatedly
best
himself.
Chuck's Corner so far. Yeah.
Better dressed though. I will say one thing. Like Roger pointed out, he had his dress V-neck on tonight. Definitely bringing it to the audience.
Well, it was a big night with his wife. I'm sure they had a good time.
Yeah.
All right, man. What a good show. Wow.
Well, it was a show. It was a show. I'll give it that.
Hey guys, I really appreciate you having me. This was a lot of fun. One of my favorite things that I think that doing a podcast has brought me, bar none anything else, has been the people it's brought me to talk about baseball. Whether, we're sitting here and bullshitting about Nick Chubb's contract, or, we're talking about the Guards' hot start and their new manager and is this sustainable? I appreciate you guys having me on. There is nothing I love to do more in this life than talk about baseball. Y'all could ask my wife. I talk about this game way too damn much. And the only reason that she's okay with me investing as much time in this shit as I have is because she doesn't have to hear about it.
Exactly. Nobody else has to hear about it. We get to express it here. Hey, man, I've been listening to you for a long time. I appreciate you coming on. I know that schedules and what you do for a living conflicted, and we finally got you here. Yep. You're going to come back again over the course of the season.
Absolutely.
We will win the Central, because that was one of the big chugs we didn't get to. Will they win the Central Division?
I'm chugging, Roger.
That, Andy.
I'm chugging to that shit, boy. Let's go.
It's all chug. All right.
That's another empty can.
Man, hell of a show, man. Hell of a show, brother.
Hey, you know why we're going to win the Central? If any Twins fans happen to stumble across this, you don't want to know why we're going to win the Central? Because my team is 12-6 and your team is 6-11. Get fucked.
Nice.
Right. Right.
I don't think we can end any better than that. So with that, this has been fun.
Drink them if you got them.
Drink if you got them. And Zach, thank you so much for coming on. Chuck, thank you for doing Chuck's Corner. We really appreciate it.
Beautiful, beautiful job, Chuck.
Go Guardians.
Go Guardians. Go Guards.
Go Guards.